Evan stood at the wide glass gate of the Orion Star Academy and tried to calm his breath. The station floated in deep space, glowing with soft blue light. Ships of many shapes moved slowly around it. Thousands of students from many worlds studied inside. Evan was human, and humans were still new in this place. He adjusted the simple badge on his chest and stepped forward. Inside, the hall was full of voices in different tones and languages. Tall beings with shining skin, short ones with glowing eyes, and many others walked past him. Some looked at Evan with curiosity. Some looked at him with doubt. Others looked at him with open dislike. Evan kept his head up and walked toward his classroom. He had trained for this moment for many years. Humans had learned that in space, strength alone was not enough. Control, patience, and clear thinking mattered more. Evan reminded himself of this as he entered the large learning hall. The classroom was built like a small arena, with curved seats rising high around a central platform. Students sat in groups by species. When Evan walked in, many eyes turned toward him. A low murmur spread through the hall. He found an empty seat near the middle and sat quietly. His hands rested on his knees. His heart beat fast, but his face stayed calm. Not far away, a tall alien named Raxor leaned back in his seat. His skin was dark gray, and thick ridges ran along his arms and neck. He was known for his strength and pride. He noticed Evan at once. Raxor gave a low laugh. "So this is the human," he said to the group beside him. "He looks small." Others watched with interest. The teacher entered, and the room slowly became quiet. The lesson began, but Raxor kept glancing at Evan. After some time he stood up. "Teacher," Raxor said loudly, "why do we allow such weak species to study here? They will only slow us down." Many eyes turned to Evan. The teacher frowned. "All species who pass the tests may study here. Sit down, Raxor." Raxor did not sit. He walked slowly toward Evan. Each step was heavy and loud. He stopped beside Evan's seat and looked down at him. "Do you even understand what we are learning?" Raxor asked. Evan looked up calmly. "Yes," he said. His voice was steady. Raxor snorted. "Then, show me. Stand up." Evan did not move. "This is a classroom, not a fight hall," some students whispered. Others leaned forward. Raxor's eyes narrowed. He pushed Evan's shoulder. Evan shifted slightly, but did not fall. "Stand up," Raxor repeated. Before Evan could answer, a quiet voice spoke from across the room. "Leave him alone." A human girl stood near the back. Her name was Lena. She was not tall, and her frame looked light. Her dark hair was tied back, and her eyes were calm. Raxor laughed loudly. "Another human. This place grows stranger." Lina walked forward. Her steps were slow and even. She stopped a few steps from Raxor. "You are causing trouble," she said. "Sit down." "And if I do not, then you will regret it," Lena replied. The hall went silent. Even the teacher seemed unsure. Raxor's laughter echoed. "After class," he said, "in the combat hall, I will teach you both your place." Lena nodded once. After class. Raxor turned and walked back to his seat, still laughing. The rest of the lesson passed in tense silence. Evan tried to focus, but his thoughts stayed on what would happen later. He glanced at Lena. She sat quietly, as if nothing unusual had happened. When the bell rang, students rushed out, eager to watch the coming fight. News spread fast through the academy. By the time Evan and Lena reached the combat hall, a large crowd had gathered. The combat hall was huge, with high walls and a floor made of thick layered metal and stone. Energy shields shimmered along the sides. Training drones floated near the ceiling, ready to record everything. Raxor stood in the center, stretching his arms. His friends gathered behind him. They looked confident. Evan stopped near the edge. Lena stepped forward. "You do not have to do this," Evan said quietly. "I do," Lena replied. "If we stay silent, it will never end." Raxor grinned. "Ready to lose?" Lena did not answer. She took a calm stance. A signal sounded. The match began. Raxor charged forward with great speed. His heavy fist swung toward Lena's head. She moved aside, barely shifting her feet. His strike missed by inches and slammed into the air. Gasp rose from the crowd. Raxor spun and attacked again, faster this time. Lena dodged, stepped inside his guard, and lightly touched his chest. He stumbled back in surprise. Anger flashed across his face. He roared and attacked with full strength. The floor shook under his steps. Lena's movements remained smooth and controlled. She blocked, redirected, and avoided every strike. Each time Raxor attacked, he missed. Minutes passed. Sweat formed on Raxor's brow. His breathing grew heavy. Lena had not broken a sweat. Raxor gathered his strength for one final attack. He leaped forward, raising both arms. Lena stepped toward him. She planted her foot and struck the ground with a single, focused blow. The impact was sharp and clean. A loud crack echoed. The floor split beneath Raxor. The thick layers of metal and stone shattered. He fell into the broken pit, landing hard. Silence filled the hall. Dust floated in the air. Raxor lay stunned, unable to rise. Lena stood at the edge of the broken floor, her breathing steady. Teachers rushed forward. Medical drones descended. Students stared in shock. Evan felt his heart pound. He had trained hard, but even he had never seen such power. Raxor was lifted out and carried away. His eyes were wide with disbelief. The crowd slowly began to whisper. "Did you see that? She broke the floor. A human did that." Lena turned and walked toward the exit. Evan followed her. In the quiet corridor, he finally spoke. "How? Years of training. Where?" "Hidden places," she said. "Places built for survival, not comfort." They walked in silence. Across the academy, eyes watched them, some with respect, some with fear, some with anger. In distant halls, Raxor's allies whispered of revenge. And deep within the station, unseen forces began to move. The first spark had been lit, and nothing would be the same again. Evan followed Lena through the winding corridors of the academy. His mind was still racing from what had happened in the combat hall. He had trained for years, but seeing Lena move, fight, and control her power left him speechless. Her calmness in the face of Raxor's attacks made him realize humans had secrets the academy could not yet understand. They reached a quiet training room that looked ordinary from the outside. Lena opened the door and stepped inside. The walls were lined with strange patterns and symbols. Machines hummed softly, and the floor had different textures than normal training halls. "This is where it began," Lena said, her voice low and serious. "This is where humans learned to survive when everything was against them." Evan looked around. He could see strange devices that measured strength, speed, and endurance. There were walls for climbing, floors that shook under pressure, and holograms showing moving targets. Every tool seemed designed to push someone beyond normal limits. "Humans?" Evan asked. "You trained here alone?" "Many of us. Hidden colonies across the galaxy. We were taught to fight, to think, and to survive. The other species never knew until we came here." Evan walked slowly around the room, touching the walls. But why hide? Why not show this strength?
"Because showing it too soon makes enemies," Lena explained. "Humans are still new."
"Many species do not respect us. They think we are weak. Weakness is dangerous in space. We learned to be ready before anyone noticed." Evan took a deep breath. "I want to learn. I want to understand." Lena's eyes softened. "Then you will need discipline, patience, and control. Strength alone is not enough." For hours, Lena showed Evan the basics. Simple movements, breathing control, awareness of surroundings. Each step focused on precision and calmness. Evan tried to match her speed but often stumbled. Lena corrected him gently, guiding his movements. Outside, the academy continued as usual. Students whispered about the fight in the combat hall. Many came to watch Lena in secret, trying to understand how a human girl could break Raxor's pride and the floor with a single strike. Raxor, meanwhile, sat alone in his dorm. His pride was broken. His friends avoided him. He could not understand what had happened. How could a human, a small human, be this strong? Anger burned inside him, but deep down he feared the truth. That night, strange alarms sounded across the academy. Emergency lights flickered. Some students panicked, but Lena and Evan stayed calm. Lena's training had taught her to remain focused in chaos. They followed the source of the alarm to the lower levels. The corridors were dark, and the usual glow of the academy's lights was dim. Shadowy figures moved quickly along the walls. Evan noticed they were not normal students.
"They are trying to test us," Lena whispered. "Someone wants to see what humans can do."
Or they want to capture me.
Suddenly, a group of hostile aliens appeared, blocking their path. They were armed with strange weapons, pulsing with energy.
Their eyes glowed red in the dim light. Evan instinctively stepped in front of Lena. "Stay behind me," he said. "You will need more than that," Lena replied. She moved forward, her body relaxed but ready. The first attacker lunged at her. She sidestepped and used his momentum to throw him into a wall. The sound of cracking metal echoed through the corridor. Evan tried to engage the next attacker, but he struggled. His strength was real, but his control was not enough. Lena quickly intervened, blocking attacks with minimal movement. She moved like water, flowing around danger, precise and unstoppable. More attackers arrived. Lena's movements created a rhythm, and Evan started to match it. He remembered her teachings, controlled his breathing, and focused on placement instead of power. Slowly, he improved. The fight continued for several minutes. Every strike from Lena or Evan found its mark. The attackers fell back, stunned by the human's skill. Finally, they retreated, leaving the corridor quiet again. Evan's chest heaved with exhaustion. "They were strong," he said. "They were testing us," Lena said calmly.
"And we passed. But this is only the beginning."
"Many others will come. Humans cannot be weak. We have to be ready." Evan nodded, his mind filled with determination.
"I want to be ready. Teach me everything."
The next days passed in intense training. Lena pushed Evan to limits he had never known. He ran faster, jumped higher, struck harder, and thought sharper. Each day, the other students watched. Some were curious, some were afraid. Rumors of human strength spread like wildfire. Meanwhile, Raxor began plotting. He met secretly with his allies. They discussed revenge. They could not allow humans to show such power. He had to restore his pride. He had to prove his race was stronger. Raxor's plans moved quietly. Strange messages were sent across the academy. Threats whispered in dark corners. The atmosphere grew tense. Students began to feel the unease. Something bigger was coming. Evan and Lena trained every day, preparing for what they could not yet see. They grew stronger, faster, smarter. They learned to fight as a team, covering each other's weaknesses. Slowly, they began to understand the true meaning of human strength. One evening, as the academy slept, Lena took Evan to a small observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly. Ships of all kinds moved in the distance.
"Look at them," Lena said.
Every species wants to survive. Every species fights for itself. Humans are no different. But humans are strong not because of power alone. Strength comes from will, from the ability to rise after every fall. Evan nodded, feeling a fire inside.
"I understand. I will not fail."
Suddenly, a faint vibration ran through the floor. The observation deck's lights flickered. Evan looked around. What was that? "Trouble," Lena said simply. "It is already starting." The next day, strange signs appeared around the academy. Doors left open, equipment missing, students disappearing briefly and returning shaken. Teachers investigated but found nothing. The feeling of danger grew. Lena gathered Evan and several other human students. They trained together, practiced tactics, and prepared for the unknown. Each day their coordination improved. Each day their confidence grew. Raxor's whispers of revenge reached the ears of other students. Some joined him, believing humans had no place in the academy. Others stayed silent, afraid to challenge the status quo. Tension rose with every passing day. Students watched for signs, and the academy felt like a quiet storm waiting to erupt. One evening, Evan caught Lena alone in the training room. She was practicing with speed drills, moving faster than Evan thought possible. "Lena," he said, "what will happen if they attack the academy?" "We cannot handle everyone alone."
"We will not be alone," she said. "Other humans will come."
"And we will fight together. Humans survive by standing together, by using their mind and will as weapons. You will see soon enough." Shadows moved outside the windows. He realized that what they had faced so far was only a hint of the challenges ahead. Something bigger was coming, and the academy, with all its proud and powerful students, would never be the same again. The first clash had tested human skill. The second was coming, and this time, it would not be a simple fight. The humans had shown their strength, but the galaxy had only just begun to notice. And when it did, every species would have to learn that humans were not weak, that humans survived by rising against all odds, and that they were capable of more than anyone could imagine. Evan woke early the next day, his mind buzzing from the training and the warnings Lena had given him. The academy was unusually quiet, but he sensed tension in the air. Every student he passed on the corridors seemed alert, their eyes darting toward shadows, listening to whispers. The first fight had ended, but its ripple was spreading through the academy. He met Lena in the training room. She was already moving through exercises, her movements sharp and fluid. When she noticed Evan, she nodded, and he joined her. "Today we push limits," Lena said simply. "You must not only fight, you must learn to think ahead. Strength without planning is useless." Evan focused. He remembered the lessons from the previous day. He adjusted his breathing, sharpened his focus, and followed her instructions. Each strike had a purpose. Each movement had meaning. Lena's eyes stayed on him, guiding subtly, correcting where needed, pushing him further than before. Outside, the academy buzzed with rumors. Raxor had been humiliated, and his pride burned. Students whispered about revenge, plotting in secret. Others, curious about the humans, watched from the shadows, trying to understand the source of their strength. In the middle of the day, a strange message reached the student council. Several alien students had gone missing for a short time and returned shaken but unharmed. No one saw the cause, but suspicion grew. Some believed humans were behind it, though there was no proof. Fear and respect for the humans spread quietly. Evan and Lena trained relentlessly, perfecting strategy alongside strength. They practiced team maneuvers, working together without speaking. Their coordination grew near perfect, and Evan could feel his body responding faster than before. He could anticipate attacks, dodge with precision, and counter with force. Lena watched, approving silently. One evening, as shadows grew long, Lena led Evan to the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and a faint hum of ships filled the background. "Look at all of them," Lena said. "Every species fights to survive, and every species thinks it is the strongest. But strength alone does not win battles. Planning, strategy, and understanding your enemy are as important as muscle and speed. Humans have always known this." Evan nodded. "I see it. I feel it. But the academy is filled with danger. How will we handle what comes next?" "We will handle it together," Lena said. "Humans never fight alone. When the moment comes, others will stand with us. But we must be ready for the first strike." The next day, while students were in class, the academy's alarms rang again. Red lights flashed, echoing through the corridors. Students looked toward the exits, fear and uncertainty in their eyes. Something was moving quickly, and it was not human. Lena and Evan ran toward the source of the alarm. The corridors were darker than usual, and strange vibrations ran through the floor. Shadows flickered along the walls. Suddenly, several attackers appeared, moving with silent precision. They were different from anything Evan had seen before. Their weapons glowed faintly, and their eyes burned with intent. Without hesitation, Lena moved forward, her body a blur of controlled motion. She dodged, countered, and struck, her strikes precise and deadly. Evan tried to match her movements, protecting both himself and the students nearby. He felt the training pay off, his body responding automatically, his mind calculating each movement. The attackers pressed harder, testing their strength against humans who had learned to adapt. Lena's calm control seemed to unnerve them. She moved through the waves of attackers, striking only where necessary, avoiding wasteful energy. Evan followed, learning from her example, his confidence growing with each successful move. Minutes passed, each feeling like hours. The attackers finally retreated, their formations broken, leaving silence behind. Students emerged from hiding, their expressions a mix of awe and fear. Evan and Lena stood together, breathing heavily but steady. The fight had tested them, and they had passed. Yet both knew this was only a small prelude to what was coming. The next days were spent preparing. Lena gathered more human students who had been training secretly. Together they honed strategies, practiced drills, and worked as a team. Each day brought a new lesson, a new challenge, and a new test of endurance. They learned to anticipate attacks, plan movements, and react in harmony. Meanwhile, Raxor's pride drove him to deeper schemes. He spoke with other alien students, sharing his humiliation and rallying them to his cause. They planned in secrecy, watching for opportunities to strike at the humans, to reclaim honor. Each day the tension in the academy increased. Evan realized that survival would not come from individual strength alone. The humans had to unite, to support each other and to use every skill and piece of knowledge they had. Lena led them patiently, ensuring that every move they learned was perfect and every strategy tested. One night as they trained under dim lights, Evan paused. "Lena, what if they come in greater numbers? What if the next attack is stronger than anything we have faced?" Lena's eyes, calm and unwavering, met his. "Then we adapt. We fight together, we learn, and we overcome. Humans have always survived because we do not give up. That is our strength. That is why we will endure."
Evan felt a surge of determination.
He had witnessed Lena's skill, felt the power in her movements, and understood that human strength was not only physical. It was will, courage, and the determination to rise even when the odds were against them. The academy seemed calm on the surface, but Evan and Lena knew better. Shadows moved in secret, and danger waited in quiet corners. Every day brought new challenges, and the humans prepared diligently. Finally, word spread that more attacks would come. Students whispered, teachers grew anxious, and the atmosphere became tense. Humans were no longer underestimated. The academy had begun to recognize that strength alone did not define power. Control, unity, and strategy mattered more, and humans had all three. As the sun, or the distant star that lit the station, set, Evan stood beside Lena, watching the glowing horizon of space. They both knew that the real challenge was ahead, that the next confrontation would test everything they had learned. And yet, for the first time, Evan felt ready, knowing that humans were not weak and that together they could face anything. The alarm rang again, but this time it was sharper, more urgent. Evan and Lena had been ready for days, but the feeling in their stomachs told them something was different. The attackers were not ordinary students or small squads. This was bigger, more organized. They ran through the corridors, moving silently. The usual hum of the academy had been replaced by tension, a quiet fear. Shadows danced along the walls as their lights flickered. The attackers came quickly, striking from places Evan had never seen before. They were agile, precise, and silent, with weapons designed to disable rather than kill. Evan tried to protect some of the younger students who had wandered into the corridors. He moved quickly, guided by Lena's calm voice behind him. Every strike from the attackers was met with careful counter, every trap neutralized by their quick thinking. Lena moved like a shadow herself. She did not waste energy. She observed, read intentions, and use the attacker's strength against them. She moved with her team, a few other humans she had secretly trained, covering every angle, coordinating every move without speaking. The battle stretched across several halls. Machines and walls cracked under the force of attacks, but the humans held their ground. Evan's body ached, but his mind was sharper than ever. He could predict the attackers' movements, feel their hesitation, and strike at the right moment. Lena guided him, teaching him silently with every motion. Finally, they cornered the last group of attackers in the lower level. These attackers were larger, stronger, but not as skilled in coordination. Lena's team struck together a perfectly synchronized sequence. The attackers could not escape. One by one, they were disarmed, knocked out, or forced to retreat. Silence returned to the halls. Dust and debris floated in the air. Students emerged from hiding, staring at the humans with awe and fear. For the first time, the Academy realized that humans were not just strong. They were organized, smart, and capable of protecting themselves and others. Evan and Lena stood together, breathing heavily but calm. Their team gathered around, tired but proud. Each human student had played a part, and their coordination had saved the Academy from serious damage. As they checked on the younger students, a subtle warning reached them. Sensors in the Academy detected movements outside the station. A larger threat was approaching. Ships unlike any they had seen moved silently in space, surrounding the station. Their size and design suggested advanced technology and a hostile intent. The previous attackers were only scouts, a small force meant to test defenses. The real threat was coming, and it would not be easy to fight. Lena gathered her team in a secure room. The walls were lined with monitors and controls, giving a full view of the station's surroundings. "This is what I feared," she said. "They have scouts, advanced ships, and intelligence about our defenses. If they attack directly, the Academy could be destroyed." Evan clenched his fists. "Then we fight. We cannot let them win." Lena looked at him, eyes calm but sharp. "We will not fight alone. Humans survive by standing together, and by using their minds as much as their strength. We need strategy, planning, and timing. If we act together, we can overcome them." The next hours were filled with preparation. Lena organized the human students into squads, each with specific tasks. Some would guard the Academy's interior, others would protect civilians, and a few would act as scouts. Evan was put in a leadership role, coordinating defenses alongside Lena. They trained quickly, anticipating attacks and moving like a single unit. Raxor and his allies, watching from the sidelines, grew uneasy. Their own plans seemed small compared to the humans' organization. Rumors of humans' hidden training had spread. Raxor realized that his pride had led him into underestimating them. He could no longer challenge them as individuals. The humans worked together, and their unity made them formidable. As the alien ships closed in, sensors detected energy signatures approaching the Academy. Lena gathered the humans and other students she trusted. "This is the moment we have prepared for," she said. "The Academy's walls are strong, but it is not only walls that protect us. Our skill, our will, and our courage are stronger than any weapon. Stay focused, act together, protect everyone." The first wave of attackers arrived in small ships, firing pulses that could cut through metal. Energy shields on the Academy activated, but the attackers were skilled, aiming for weak points. Humans moved quickly, striking from shadows, using precision to disable enemy technology without wasting energy. Lena's team coordinated perfectly, protecting the civilians and guiding younger students to safety.
Evan led a group of students in a counterattack.
They used small vessels to intercept attackers, striking with calculated moves. Each human student moved as part of a larger plan, using intelligence and strategy as much as raw power. Hours passed like minutes. The attackers tried again and again, but the humans adapted with each wave. Lena's calm voice guided them through every strike, every movement, every decision. Their unity became a force the attackers could not predict or counter. Finally, the attackers retreated, unable to break the Academy's defenses. The humans had held the line, protected the station, and proven that even when outnumbered and facing advanced technology, strategy and unity could overcome force. The academy was shaken but safe. Students, teachers, and allies looked at the humans differently now. Respect replaced fear, awe replaced doubt. Even Raxor, watching silently, could not deny what he had seen. Humans were not weak. They had survived tests, attacks, and trials that others could not endure. Evan and Lena stood together once more, exhausted but unbroken. They had faced a coordinated attack and the Academy had survived, but both knew this was only the beginning. Larger threats lurked in the galaxy, and humans would need to remain vigilant. Their skill, unity, and determination would be tested again. In the quiet that followed, the Academy slowly returned to normal, but whispers of human strength and organization spread to every corner. Students watched them with curiosity and respect. Teachers studied their methods. Raxor's allies planned quietly, knowing they could no longer underestimate the human students. Evan looked at Lena. "We did it."
We protected everyone. She nodded. Yes, but this is only the start.
The galaxy does not respect weakness, and we have shown our strength. We must continue to train, to prepare, and to stand together. The next challenge will be even greater, and we must be ready. Humans had faced the first real test and had survived. The Academy had seen their strength, and the galaxy was starting to notice. He felt a deep resolve growing inside him, knowing that humans would rise, fight, and endure, no matter what threats came next. The alarm sounded across the Orion Star Academy. This time there was no time for preparation. Evan and Lena, along with the human students they had trained, moved quickly toward the central command hub. Outside, the sky was dark with ships, their shapes unfamiliar and menacing. The fleet surrounding the Academy was larger than anything they had faced before.
Evan, focus,
Lena said, her voice calm but urgent. This is the real battle. Every move counts. Protect the Academy, protect the students, and trust your instincts. Evan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility but did not hesitate. Together with the humans, he moved into position. Some prepared defenses on the outer walls. Others coordinated small patrol vessels to intercept attackers. Lena stood at the center overseeing the operation, her eyes scanning every corner of the command hub. The first wave hit with sudden intensity. Energy beams sliced through the vacuum around the station, hitting shields that flared with power. Some of the smaller outer walls cracked under pressure. Humans acted immediately, striking at weak points, disabling enemy ships with precise maneuvers. Evan led one squad, intercepting attackers before they could reach the Academy gates. The second wave arrived, larger and more coordinated. The attackers had learned from the first wave. They moved as a single unit, covering each other, anticipating human reactions. But Lena had anticipated this. Her training program had prepared them for coordinated attacks. Each human student knew their role. Every movement was planned, yet adaptable. Evan felt the pressure rise as enemy ships closed in. He guided his squad, calling out directions and positioning his team to intercept. Lena's voice echoed through the comms, calm and precise, guiding their responses. Every human moved in harmony, covering each other, striking with deadly accuracy. Hours passed, each minute stretched by intensity. Some attackers broke through, but humans met them at every point. The Academy's defenses were strong, but the human strategy made them nearly unstoppable. Lena coordinated attacks, protected vulnerable points, and gave Evan room to lead his team effectively. Raxor watched from a distance. His pride was gone, replaced by respect and fear. The humans had proven themselves. Their strength was not only physical, it was unity, intelligence, and unwavering courage. Even his allies could not deny it. He retreated silently, knowing the Academy could not be easily broken now. Evan intercepted a group of attackers heading toward the civilian sectors. With a combination of speed and precision, his squad disabled their ships and forced them to retreat. He moved like a shadow, instinct guiding his actions. Each step, each strike was deliberate. Every member of his team responded in perfect coordination. Lena faced the most advanced attackers near the central hub. Her movements were a blur, fast and precise. She struck, dodged, and redirected attacks effortlessly. Even the most dangerous attackers could not land a hit. She protected the hub while coordinating counterattacks, her calm presence inspiring those around her. The battle reached its peak as the final wave of enemy ships approached. These were the largest and most advanced. Shields glowed with energy, weapons charged to their limits. The humans gathered at the academy gates ready to face them. Evan and Lena stood together at the forefront, their team positioned perfectly around them. "Remember your training," Lena said quietly. "Every move, every action matters. We fight not just with strength, but with unity and strategy. Humans survive because we adapt, because we rise against every challenge. Now is our moment." The enemy charged. Energy beams cut across space, striking shields, shaking the academy. Humans moved in perfect harmony, intercepting attacks, disabling enemy ships, and protecting each other. Evan led with courage, anticipating movements, guiding his squad to maximum effectiveness. Lena struck at the core attackers, her speed and precision unmatched. The battle raged for hours. Each wave of attackers was stronger than the last, but humans adapted. Every strategy, every maneuver Lena had taught, was tested and proven. The Academy's defenses held because of human skill and coordination, not just technology. Finally, the attackers were forced to retreat. Their ships scattered, energy weapons depleted, and formations broken. The humans had won. The Academy stood, safe and intact. Students, teachers, and allies emerged from hiding, astonished and relieved. The humans had faced the ultimate test and survived. Evan and Lena stood together, exhausted but unbroken. Around them, the human students cheered quietly, proud but humble. They had fought as one, protected the Academy, and proven that strength was not only in the body but in the mind, will, and unity. Even Raxor watched silently from a distance, unable to deny what he had seen. Humans were not weak. Their true strength was revealed. Respect replaced doubt and fear in every corner of the Academy. In the aftermath, the Academy slowly returned to normal. Repairs began, students returned to lessons, but the memory of the battle remained. Humans were no longer underestimated. They had shown the galaxy that even when outnumbered, even against the most advanced threats, unity, intelligence, and courage could overcome any obstacle. Evan looked at Lena. "We did it," he said, voice filled with awe and pride. She nodded, eyes calm but bright.
Yes, we did.
But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will watch us now, and humans will be tested again. We must stay strong, train harder, and remain united. That is what makes us human. Evan felt a deep resolve grow inside him. They had survived the ultimate attack, protected the Academy, and proven their strength. He knew that whatever came next, humans would rise to face it. They were no longer just a small species in a vast galaxy. They were survivors, warriors, and a force to be reckoned with. The stars outside the Academy glowed quietly, vast and endless. Evan and Lena stood side by side, watching them. They understood that their journey had only begun. The galaxy was wide, full of challenges, but humans had shown that they were capable of more than anyone had ever imagined, and together they would continue to rise, fight, and endure, no matter what the future held.